In this video, we're going to look at the parts reference guide, which contains 6 sections, including the meter's parts list, meter hardware kits, seal kits, drive shaft kits, bearing plate hardware kits, and the air eliminator cross-reference. Let's take a look at the meter's parts list first. The first thing that we're going to see in this document is going to be the drawings, the first one being the M5 through M25. If you notice, there's going to be a 4-digit item number next to each part number. So let's take a closer look at this item 0163, a displacement rotor gear. If we go into our meter parts list for an M7 Class 1 meter, you will see our item number 163. This corresponds to a part number 48751. Now this 48751 also contains the displacement rotor as well. So this is sold as a kit. So if you need to order the gear, you will need to order this part number as a kit, the 48751. Now you can see some different part numbers for a Class 2 meter because those parts are different. For a Class 10 and Class 16, they are the same. So the same kit number, 48751, can be used. If we look all the way over to a Class 18, you'll notice that is a full covered element that we offer only. We do not offer the displacement rotor and displacement rotor gear together as a kit. So let's go back up to the drawing. Let's look at the screw. The screw item number for the displacement rotor is a 0673. So if we go back to the parts list, we look for the 673 displacement gear screw. It says see rotor and gear kits above. So what we want to do then in this point is we want to go up and we want to select our rotor and gear kit, which will contain those items. So let's go back to the drawing and let's look at the seal. So in this, for an M7, we're looking at a cover O-ring of 0430. So if we go back to the parts list, here is our 430 cover O-ring in Buna, and here is the part number, 501315. So this is going to be a kit that will contain the cover O-ring for the M7 Class 1, Class 2, Class 10, and Class 16. In the case of the Class 18, it is not available. But if you look at the cover O-ring for in EPDM, it is available underneath these 2 separate part numbers. The cover bolt has a part number of 0627. That's the item number. If we look at that item number, which is right here under the end covers, you'll see the 627 cover screws. It comes as a kit of 501649. So with that part number 501649, if we look at the meter hardware kit, we'll find the part number here. Here are our screws for our cover. This is a hardware kit that contains the cover screws along with other items you may need. And if we go back to the cover O-rings for that M7, we saw that the part number was a 501315 for Buna seals. Here you can see what that kit contains. You've got 2 cover seals, a packing gland seal, 2 flange O-rings, and a high cap strainer flange as well. So in this section you can actually see what the seal kits actually contain. So let's move on to the drive shaft kits. So here you can see we've got MA4 through M25. We've got a kit number of a 501664, which contains these parts to attach a counter to the meter. Here's for M30 and M40, M60s and M80s. Down towards the bottom we have some different classes, Class 8s and Class 14s for M5 and 7. So moving on to the last 2 sections, the next one being the bearing plate hardware kit. These 3 kits contain the screws to hold the bearing plate to the housing. The last section is the air eliminator cross-reference. Whereas if you have an older model air eliminator, you can use this as a cross-reference to find out what type of air eliminator you need. Most have been done because of the fact that we now anodize all air eliminators. So a lot of the anodized only air eliminators have been obsoleted, replaced with just the standard air eliminator, which is now anodized. So I hope that gives you a little bit more insight on how this document works. If you have questions, you can always get a hold of us at 1-800-458-5262. Thank you.